Why is it important that we release the details of a crash that happened in November of 2023?
If you get into a crash, it is on you.
And Tesla's approach relies entirely on vision, so no LiDAR, no radar, just cameras and code.
And it's important to also remember that 40,000 people or so die in car accidents a year in the United States.
All that and more. So let's get to it. We're about a week into June. The Robotaxi launch for Tesla, that's going to happen in short order. It doesn't surprise me in the slightest that the fear, uncertainty, and doubt being pushed by the legacy news media is going into hyperdrive.
It's time to discuss the latest with Tesla. There's always news in Tesla. So we are now joined by Diane King-Hall, the host of Morning Movers. Where to begin, Diane? There's news from Chinese-made EVs in Tesla declining for the 8th straight month. There's also news that Elon Musk, President Donald Trump having this public dispute, which I hate, but we did also see a slight move in the stock as a result. And also this video of some of their FSD technology crashing. So where to begin?
You see what I mean, right? Year over year, China sales are in decline. There's no getting around that. The only real question I have is, will it be like this a year from now? As for Trump and Elon's relation, I could really give two about that. But the one piece of news that has piqued my interest would be that fatal crash? Let's get some more information on that, shall we?
Most important question, the question that we are getting most, is why is it important that we release the details of a crash that happened in November of 2023? Craig.
Yes, Craig. Tell me why Bloomberg decided to release information about a crash. I mean, this isn't news, except that Tesla is about to release their Robotaxi in Austin shortly. Yes, please, tell me what is most important about this old news.
There's a lot of pushback on that, for the obvious reasons of, it's now June 2024, right? And yet what makes this
2025
crash very significant, excuse me, 2025. What makes this crash very significant for Tesla is the fact that that this is something that led to a federal investigation. This investigation is ongoing. And this speaks to the sort of complexities of the way that the U.S. has approached regulating this technology, right?
The timing is curious. Indeed. Curious.
And NHTSA is saying, look, we need to investigate this and whether or not your system is safe in these conditions. And that is a risk for investors and obviously, worthy of reporting, putting aside the fact that this is a tragic situation and, 40,000 people die on U.S. roads every year. Much as that's a worthy ambition to try and change that if you're Tesla, it's rare that we look at those deaths as closely as we had the opportunity to here.
Yeah, I agree. It's a damn shame that about 80,000 people died from when this incident had occurred. Yet we want to focus on this particular crash as it pertains to Tesla, despite the crash being the fault of the driver and not the company. The timing of releasing this new information is curious. Quite curious.
It's emotional for 71-year-old Jonas Story's family. It is for Carl Stock as well, who is the Tesla driver. Craig, push us forward, though, on the technology front here, though, because there are key differences between, for example, LiDAR with Waymo and what Tesla has been using, and is in any way an interpretation as the technology and how it reacts to low sun and certain of those themes that you're seeing among these crashes.
For Waymo, more sensors equals more reliability, whereas Tesla has gone down that path, had radars in the car for a long period of time. Discovered there was quite a delay when these sensors didn't technically disagree. Who would be right in one given scenario? For the past half decade, Tesla has been out on a limb, as Craig would so put it, taking the path less traveled, relying solely on vision and neural networks. By the end of June, Tesla will have shown that this is the way autonomy should be. Now, Bloomberg's decision to release this new information about a crash that happened damn near 2 years ago. CNBC, they're gonna run with it, and they're gonna run with it kind of hard. But before we get to that, Bloomberg, can you tell us, is full self-driving safe?
Teslas that you can buy today that are on the road now are not that, right? They are not autonomous. You can pay extra for a system called full self-driving, and yet it's a misnomer. It's a system that you have to pay attention to at all times. If you get into a crash, it is on you, and we've seen that play out when Tesla customers have tried to come after the company. The company says, look, we warned you, we told you that you're responsible for driving while using this system. The company is trying to make this leap. It's been trying to make this leap for years to eventually get to a point where you do not have to supervise, and even to take it further than that, take the human out from behind the wheel altogether. And we hear Musk talk about that quite a bit lately, because it's something that they're actually trying to commercialize, even just in the next matter of next week or so. There's a lot of questions about how exactly they intend to do that, whether they can do it, especially after he's predicted, year after year that they're on the cusp of doing it. And part of the reason there are doubts is because of the hardware. And I think that's kind of an important aspect of today's story is this particular crash involves, an incident where a driver was using full self-driving, driving into the sun, and that appeared to play a part in the crash, which resulted in a fatality, and it led to a federal investigation that is ongoing.
Thank you, Craig. Thank you. I mean, it just feels weird, the timing of this new information. It's curious. Very curious.
Developing story here, new footage obtained by Bloomberg showing the alarming moments right before a pedestrian was struck and killed by a Tesla using the company's full self-driving technology back in 2023.
Boy, that headline does some serious justice, doesn't it, ladies and gentlemen? June 4th, 2025. Fatal crash from a Tesla. Makes it seem like Tesla's killing people recently, all willy-nilly. The timing is curious. Most curious.
Deirdre Bosa has more on why this video is raising new questions, Deirdre, just as Tesla gets ready to release its Robotaxi onto the Austin roads.
Yeah, I mean, the video itself is disturbing. We're only going to show you a screenshot from it, but I'll tell you what the footage shows. It's the Tesla rounding a curve into bright sun glare that would be hard even for a human to see, failing to brake for stopped traffic, hazard lights, or even a person waving it down. Now, the pedestrian, a 71-year-old grandma, she was killed on impact. And that kind of glare, it's one of the toughest challenges in autonomous driving, and also one of the clearest cases where LiDAR outperforms cameras. But Tesla's approach relies entirely on vision, so no LiDAR, no radar, just cameras and code. And that makes safety, not speed or scalability, the real test here, and the real test when it rolls out later this month. Now, self-driving accidents, they've shut down Cruise after $10 billion in funding from GM.
I believe Cruise used LiDAR too. Curious.
And it's why Uber abandoned its ambitions in 2020 after another accident.
I believe somebody that worked for Uber said, nah, Elon Musk got that autonomous driving thing down pat.
Now, it's also why Waymo's co-CEO, Takedra Mawakana, told me that their goal is to outperform human drivers, and why they built their system around redundancy, LiDAR, radar, and vision.
That redundancy isn't terrible. I mean, it's pretty good. It's just going to limit you because all of those sensors, they're not going to agree all of the time. The road that this horrible accident that was caused by the driver of the Tesla, a Waymo wouldn't even be in that situation. Simply put, because the Waymo can't go out there. Under your supervision, your Tesla vehicle can drive you anywhere. That means you might have to take over for certain scenarios and situations. Now, this was back in 2023. Where that damn sure was the case. But now, today, which nobody has said, even the person that actually uses FSD, Deirdre Bosa, that this sun glare issue is nowhere near as much of a problem as it was 2 years ago.
The new dashcam footage obtained by Bloomberg reveals the shocking seconds before a pedestrian was struck and killed by a Tesla using the company's full self-driving technology. Now, this was back in November of 2023. Deirdre Bosa has more on how the video is raising new questions around safety as Tesla gets ready to launch its robotaxis in Austin, Deirdre.
The timing of this new information is curious. Most curious.
Footage, it's hard to watch. We're just going to show you a still where you see the glare from the sun.
This video clip is kind of hard to watch, so we're going to move on to the next segment where they discuss it even further on CNBC.
Struck and killed by a Tesla that was using the company's full self-driving technology in November 2023. The video is hard to watch, as you can imagine, so we're showing an image from the car's front camera. It's a sun glare as Tesla approaches the turn. The Tesla failed to brake for stopped traffic, hazard lights, or a person waving it down. The vehicle killed a 71-year-old grandmother on impact. The dashcam video release coming as Tesla gets ready to launch robotaxis in Austin, Texas next week. Shares dropping nearly 4%.
I think the part that really annoys me the most is that they removed the driver from the situation in its entirety. The vehicle struck and killed a 71-year-old woman. The vehicle refused to slow down for hazard lights or people waving it down. I believe this is what roused me up the most about the reporting of the situation. Outside of the fact that it was about a crash that happened in 2023, where this new information about this crash seems to have some pretty decent time. It's curious. I mean, most curious.
Listen, that is obviously really sad, and I think a human might have actually done the same thing behind that wheel.
A human did do exactly the same thing. The car is only doing what the human is telling it to do. At any point in time, when the driver felt unsafe, he could have disengaged the software and drove normally.
And it's important to also remember that 40,000 people or so die in car accidents a year in the United States, but there's a lot of emphasis put on this because it takes trust. It's going to be highly regulated, sort of industry, and Tesla has not really demonstrated yet. If you think about the regulators, they're calling it supervised full self-driving. So let's see how this thing goes. But Waymo, on the other side, they're actually seeing exponential growth, right? In 2023, they passed 1 million paid rides. In 2024, they passed 5 million. This year, they're supposed to pass 20 million, and they're expanding into other cities. And you talk about the difference in technology. I mean, LiDAR, for all intents and purposes, Elon doesn't believe this, is probably better technology. Waymo's getting an advantage right now. And so, again, Tesla will catch up to it, but it's going to take a bit.
Yeah.
If you think Waymo is growing exponentially, I can't wait till you see what Tesla has in store.
The difference in cost, though, between the technologies, too, is enormous in terms of how much a Waymo car costs versus how much a Tesla car costs because of that added
but
technology.
as they scale, the price is going to come down dramatically.
I imagine when they scale, it will come down, but when? And will it be faster than what Tesla's going to launch here in a few weeks?
Right now, if you want to launch a robotaxi fleet in Austin next week or whenever it is, you're going to want the cheaper option, though. I mean, at this point in time, that's what you need to launch.
Yeah, I mean, these are just computers on wheels, and it is sad. And you don't know. I've seen studies saying that the self-drive is safer than a human, and then I've seen humans are safer than self-drive. So nobody knows.
It's true. Tesla's keeping a lot of their information close to the vest. But the fact that they plan on launching an unsupervised robotaxi service this month in Austin leads me to believe that they have a fair amount of confidence that this will be safer than a human driver. In conclusion, the legacy media would have you believe that Tesla sales are down all over the world, especially year over year. To add on top of that uncertainty, Bloomberg decides to throw in a heavy dose of fear. A fatal crash that happened in 2023 on version 11 of the FSD software. We're on version 13, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, right now, giving you fresh headlines of doubt concerning Tesla's safety. Considering this is what the media is deciding to glom onto, something that happened damn near 2 years ago, quite frankly, ladies and gentlemen, this gives me more confidence that Tesla is going to be able to do this here in Austin. It's been my experience with Tesla that safety is of the utmost importance. Tesla is doing everything in their power to advance the technology and maintain absolute safety, even though this tragic event was not their fault. Get the out of here with that nonsense. That's all I've got for you today. Be easy. Purr.